Here we go. The Sectional 37 Championship is finally upon us, a game that should be a great one. Hi, I am Nathaniel Finch. Good evening and welcome in to Seeger High School. The two lost Patriots will be hosting the 7-4 Western Boone Stars. And Seeger's the team that defeated South Vermilion and Cascade to get to this game in the tournament, while Western Boone crushed Speedway and North Putnam to advance here to round 3 tonight. We'll look at the coaching spotlight for both of these two teams here on WB TV Sports. For Western Boone, Coach Justin Pelley, he's been here since 2013. 74-24 is his record here with the Stars. And this year, the Stars, they started 1-3. They've been 6-1 since then. The coaching staff put together by Pelley has performed really well here so far, as the Stars now will have their 13th winning season straight. As for the Seeger Patriots, as they're heading onto the field, looking at their coach, Herb King. He's been coaching for 30 years now, 184 and 140 overall in all of his coaching stops, but he's been with Seeger since 2016. They're 24 and 27 during that time, and this is their first sectional championship. They've really started to build since he really took over the program in 2016. Coach King has also coached for Rockville. He did that for 14 years, and then South Decatur and North Putnam before that. Like I mentioned, 30 years of coaching for the Seeger coach. And Seeger overall is 315 and 282 as their record. Looking at these two teams now, what they did last week, Western Boone, they hosted North Putnam, a 2-8 North Putnam team, and they defeated them 37-14. They were up 37-0. The running clock kicked in, and then North Putnam ended up scoring 14, but they really blew out North Putnam there. As for Seeger, they beat Cascade, the 3-8 team, 32-11 here at Patriot Field. Seeger ran for 221 rushing yards and limited Cascade to just 122 total yards on its way to that 32-11 win. Looking at some season stats for both these two teams. Points per game, Seeger is leading in that category. They've scored 35. They've only allowed 14 on average each game. Western Boone has scored 29 and allowed 13 points on average. Two very even teams, as we'll find out here hopefully throughout this game. It should be a great one. The most points that Seeger scored in a game was 65 against Covington, and Western Boone scored 48 against Crawfordsville. Looking at the passing yard total, Seeger is leading in that category. They've got 1,518 passing yards on the year. That goes to about 152 yards per game, 16 completions per game. They've got 16 touchdowns overall to 8 interceptions, led by the quarterback, Owen Snedeker. As for Western Boone, 1,329 passing yards. That's about 121 yards per game, so about 30 less than the Patriots. They had a 75-yard bomb against Sheridan, 58% completion percentage, 18 touchdowns, 7 interceptions so far on the year for the quarterback, Elliott Young. As for the rushing yards, these two teams are dead even. Western Boone, 2,128 rushing yards on the year. Seeger, 2,132. That's just 4 rushing yard difference between these two teams, and they are so even as far as the ground game goes. Each team is attempting about 37 rushes per game. Seeger has 34 rushing touchdowns this year. Western Boone with 26 rushing touchdowns. And then as far as the turnover margin goes, Western Boone so far this year, +4 turnover margin. They've given up 11 takeaways, but they've given up 11 turnovers. They've forced 15 defensive takeaways. And then the turnover margin for Seeger is -5, 23 offensive turnovers, 17 defensive takeaways. Looking at the scoring overall, the Patriots have scored 352 points this year. As we mentioned, they're 8-2. And then Western Boone, they have scored 322 on way to their 7-4 record. But like I mentioned, 6-1 in their last 7 games. Looking at some top players here for Western Boone, Connor Garrity is going to be the focal point of this offense through the air. And on the ground, we're going to see Robbie Taylor quite a bit. Luke Marsh will come in as that backup running back, but spell the starter, Taylor. And then we've got the quarterback, Elliott Young. Those are the 4 top players for Western Boone on offense. And then on defense, we'll see Garrity matched up quite a bit on the outside with Luke Marsh, is a stud middle linebacker. As for Seeger, their top players, they're probably their best player, Cal Steven. He has been tearing it up this year. Looking at his numbers, number 12, the wide receiver, 48 receptions, 726 yards, 11 receiving touchdowns. And then as far as rushing goes, 55 rushing attempts, 256 yards, and 8 touchdowns there as well. He is 6'4", the same size as Connor Garrity for Western Boone. Those two were scheduled to have a really good battle today, but unfortunately Cal Steven has a hamstring injury. We'll see him likely only on defense and maybe even half the time on defense as he is trying to nurse that hamstring injury. So not quite the matchup we thought we'd see between these two players, but still going to be a good matchup there as the two do match up on each other throughout the game. Now I'd like to welcome in Coach Gray. Coach, thank you for joining us here on WBTV.
Thanks, Nathaniel. I took the scenic route through Williamsport.
See, I did too. It took me a bit longer to get here as well, as we are now ready to start this game off. Western Boone will return the kick. Jake Johnson gets on the ball after he muffs it a little bit around the 34-yard line with that little squib kick to start the game. Western Boone will have the ball, and we'll see their offense from the 34-yard line to start this game off.
They've got good field position right off the bat there, right just at the 34-yard line. A lot of room to work with, so the playbook's wide open right now.
Quarterback Elliott Young, so far this year, 87 completions, 150 attempts. He's got those 18 touchdown passes, 7 interceptions. The key to him is giving him a clean pocket to work with. Right now with a 4 wide receiver set, it'll be a handoff to Robbie Taylor, and Taylor barrels his way for 5 yards.
Yeah, and you could already see they had 2 guys out here on Connor Garrity, one right in his face, the other one about 10 yards off. So they're going to make Connor work for everything he gets if Western Boone gets into the passing situation.
Looking at the running game, Robbie Taylor, the key player for the Stars team. We just saw him get the first rush, 223 carries this year, over 1,200 rushing yards and 8 rushing touchdowns. And he's lined up behind the quarterback, Young in the pistol formation, looking to throw is Young. He's got plenty of time. Now the time elapses, throws this one. Flag's thrown, likely going to be pass interference near the area of the intended receiver, who's Austin Bowman.
They're coming up to where Connor Garrity was being held. I was watching Connor that time, and they bumped him at the line, and then when he came out and made his move, they were holding on to him. So, yeah, they're calling holding.
And we see Austin Bowman getting the start at wide receiver today. He's played a lot on defense so far throughout his 4 years here at Western Boone, but they're going to try and see how he does on offense today at the wide receiver position. He was the intended target there.
Yeah, Austin's had some catches. He had some last year, so it's not like he's just being thrown into the fire.
Let's look at the starting lineups here as the Stars are on the offense, and we'll actually take a look at those after this play as the Stars are ready to go under center, with Elliott Young. It'll be a handoff up the middle. And, of course, Robbie Taylor gets the carry, and just like his first one, he gets 5 yards. 2 rushes for 10 yards so far today, and now let's look at the starting lineups here for the Western Boone Stars. Connor Garrity, look at him, the 6'4" wide receiver, number 85 on the outside. We've got Robbie Taylor, the starting running back, Mitch Miller and Luke Marsh, the wings, and then the wide receiver. We have Jake Hendricks, but as you can see, Austin Bowman, the one lined up out there at the wide receiver position. This time, Luke Marsh, the running back, gets the toss out to the right side, and he's brought down for just a gain of about half a yard. A nice job by this defense, stopping Marsh as they try to give him the toss, and that's been a play that's been pretty successful for Western Boone, letting Marsh get the ball in open space, but a really nice play there by this Patriot defense.
Hey, I think Seeger's going to match Western Boone's speed here a little bit tonight. I mean, size-wise, they look like they match up, but, Marsh is pretty quick, and they were able to get to him pretty easily.
This time on the far hash mark, 3rd down and 5 to go at the 45-yard line, looking to throw, has some time, gets it off, but it's incomplete. He was looking for Austin Bowman, and that'll bring up 4th and 5.
Just let him just a little bit too much.
And they've now tried to go Bowman's area twice so far in this opening drive, as now we'll see the punt team out with Josiah Smith. They're going to try to pin this Patriot team deep. But, of course, the players yelling, watch the ball, keep an eye on the fake here. Josiah Smith, the punter. We'll get to his numbers here in a second. As the ball leaves his foot, a high wobbly one over to the far boundary, and that'll land around the 25-yard line. So far, punting, excuse me for interrupting you, that's Smith's 12th punt this year. Heislong's been the other punter for this team. He's got 2 of them pinned inside the 20. Had a perfect opportunity to do it there. Didn't quite get it. His average is 36 yards.
Yeah, it was kind of a wobbly kick. I mean, he was trying to kick it short and keep it in so he'd get inside the 20, but off the side his foot a little bit, out of bounds on the sideline.
Now the quarterback, number 5, Owen Snedeker, set to bring his team out here around the 22-yard line, 1st and 10 with 9:52 on the clock. Really early in this game, just the first drive for the Patriots. And out of the gun with a 1 running back formation. It'll be a handoff and a sweep to our side, and here comes Carr. Carr loses the ball, and it goes out of bounds. So that will stay in possession of the home team.
About the 33-yard line.
Seeger wearing their dark uniforms, Western and Boone wearing the white tops and the red bottoms. And they end up advancing the ball a few yards after that fumble went out of bounds. And looks like they're going to call that a first down. The wide receiver who got the carry there was Race Carr. That's just his 2nd carry on the year. He had 1 for 29 yards earlier. And this one gets a first down on about 10 to 11-yard gain. From the 33-yard line, 1st and 10, Carr in motion. It'll be a handoff to the running back who sifts his way through traffic, gains a few yards, but nothing more. That was number 41, the running back, Peyton Martin, 5'10", 175-pound sophomore. He's got 41 carries this year, just over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. He also has another 5 receptions for 30 yards through the air. Perfect. 2nd down and 7 now, near the 9-minute mark. Man in motion against the wide receiver, Carr. Quarterback Snedeker will keep it. Spins and gains a few yards. And looking at Snedeker's numbers, that's his 78th attempt this year. He's got over 450 rushing yards and 10 rushing touchdowns from the quarterback position. He's just a sophomore, 6'2", 180 pounds. Perrin Emberton was the defensive lineman in on the stop. Let's look at the starters there, starting with Western Boone. We'll get through them really quick after this play. From the gun is Snedeker. It's 3rd down and medium. From the 38-yard line, the handoff spinning up the middle. Martin with some room. He gets a first down before he's brought down, and a nice gain of 7 yards there for Peyton Martin, the running back.
Number 4 on the tackle there.
So now we'll see 1st down and 10 from the 45-yard line, just past it. There we've got 2 runs this drive from Peyton Martin, the starting running back. From the gun, the running back, Martin to his left side. It'll be a fake handoff. Snedeker will keep it himself and is stopped for a gain of just 1. He met the brick wall of stars. Let's see starters now as these teams are ready to come back out in the next play. Starting with the home offense, you can see them there on your screen, the quarterback Snedeker. We've seen the running back Peyton Martin and then the wide receiver Race Carr get the touches so far today. 2 carries for the quarterback, 2 for the running back, and a carry for the wide receiver looking to throw the lefty on the near side. Carr gets a catch and steps out of bounds in opponent territory. Not enough for the first, but it's close. He'll gain about 7 yards on the play to the 47-yard line of Western Boone. And now we've got 3rd down and short. That time it was Carr with the reception, his 21st reception on the year. He has 407 yards, 3 touchdowns so far this year. Had 149 yards against South Vermilion just a couple short weeks ago. Looking to carry this one at the read option. It's a fumble. This one could go all the way at the 30-yard line. Is
number 3.
A touchdown for Cannon Bruins. Gets the fumble, catches it out of the air, and he brings it back to the house for a Western Boone score. The freshman outside linebacker, Cannon Bruins, has been crazy so far this year. He's second in the team in tackles with over 100 total tackles. He leads the team in tackles for a loss with 24.5. He leads the team in sacks with 10, now 11, as he gets the fumble recovery and takes it back to the house.
And he picked that up when it was still in the air. I mean, he got it just before it hit the ground. He probably would have just jumped on it, but it was still in the air, and he was able to scoop it while still running towards our goal line and able to outrun the quarterback.
Cannon, the son of the defensive coordinator here for Western Boone, as Smith bangs the PAT. 7-0 is the score. And there we saw the speed of the freshman outside linebacker on the play as he scores his first touchdown in a Western Boone varsity uniform. The first fumble recovery for the Stars this year. They've got 2 interceptions returned to the house. Excuse me, the first fumble recovered for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Better clarify that. And so it's their third defensive touchdown this year.
And so far into the game at this point, Seeger plays a faster game than most of the opponents we faced this year. So this is a good test for the Stars, and I'm sure we're a good test for the Patriots as well.
And the Patriots really like to run the ball just as much as the Stars do, but they put in a lot of variety. We saw the different fakes, the read options, the swing passes, and all.
Jet sweeps, they're running those. Right now the quarterbacks kept it up the middle, and then either the wings or the receivers gone in motion have gotten the jet sweep. So, a couple little tendencies there, but you get, like you said, they're getting those swing passes out to the side and letting the runners do it.
This is probably the toughest defense that Seeger has faced, especially up the interior. We just saw the power of the outside linebacker, Bruins. You also have the 2 middle linebackers with Marsh and Weekly, and the defensive line's very stout as well. The 2 losses for Seeger came against Twin Lakes in the season opener, lost 42-15. And then against South Vermilion, the first time they played, that was 25-15. Here's we've got the return out to the 40-yard line, pushing further. The Patriots set up with a nice field position to start their second drive after the first one went haywire.
Number 4 on that return. Yeah, number 4.
Juan Stoltz, the 5', 945-pound junior, plays wide receiver and defensive back as a reserve. So Seeger lost that game by 10 against South Vermilion, and then 2 weeks later, in their first playoff game, they defeated South Vermilion by 7 in a close game, and that's how they got here. They only had to knock off Cascade, which they did pretty easily. Here's the next play, and the option play fails as Clayton Hysong gets in for a tackle for a loss as they attempted the jet sweep.
Yep.
And race cars brought down for about a 5-yard loss.
Exactly right. The Weibo defense just shot the gap right there and met the runner as he's getting the ball from the quarterback. We've got timeout. Seeger.
Well, that timeout will take our first timeout up here as well, and we'll be back shortly on WB TV Sports.
Meet Tommy. Tommy's not sure which sport he will play in high school someday. But no matter what he ends up choosing, playing sports in high school will help pave the way to a happier, healthier life. All Tommy needs to do is make up his mind. High school sports. Pure spirit, pure sport. Pure launching pad for life.
Welcome back here to Seeger High School Patriot Field. The Stars, they're up 7-0, but the Patriots are ready to start their second drive after the first play went for a loss of 5. Nathaniel Finch here with you and with Coach Gray. Coach, thank you for joining us.
Oh, glad to be here. I enjoyed it 2 weeks ago down at Speedway. The weather's a lot nicer tonight.
It sure is.
I have a few more comments about that, but we'll wait until there's, when we, at the beginning of the season, we didn't get the sunset until the middle of the fourth quarter, and it was totally dark tonight before the game started.
Now in the spread formation, 2 receivers to each side, looking to throw the ball, the swing pass to the near side. And with the spin brought down just after a gain of a few is the Seeger Patriot and the running back with Peyton Martin.
41.
Tri-West takes the early lead over Danville in what should be a great game. 7-0 is the score for the sectional championship. Up there, Danville, of course, the undefeated team. Tri-West defeated Western Boone earlier this year along with Danville. Or Danville defeated Western Boone, excuse me. We'll get into that here shortly. Now looking to throw. This time a laser out to the middle of the field, and it's incomplete.
No flags on the play, so we'll bring up 4th and 11.
The intended receiver was Carr. He's seeing a lot of action today. Right now it's 60 degrees outside, which is a stark difference to the last 2 weeks the Stars have played in. Clear skies.
Dry. Field looks great here at Seeger.
About everything you could ask for a football game early into November. Now looking to punt is this Patriots team. There's some movement at the lines. It'll be a false start.
7 is the punter. No.
Number 9, Luke Plumer is the punter. He's got 13 punts this year with under 400 yards total there. 29 yards is his average. He had a 46-yard bomb against South Vermilion. Looking to punt this one pretty far as well.
Casey Baird's back for the Stars.
And the Stars team have failed to generate any kind of punt return this year, as this one will roll really far. Gets a great Seeger bounce inside the 20 to the 11-yard line, and you couldn't ask for a better punt than that.
That was a great punt. I think Baird should have gone after it a little bit more just to down it. He had no one coming down on him, and he could have gone over there and maybe stopped that rolling down the field. But great punt for the Patriots, and Stars will take over at the 11.
And that one is the new season-high punt for the punter Plumer. And Baird, he only has 5 returns this year, averaging 4 yards per return. His longest is 7 yards. He has struggled with these punt returns. Now backed up near their own end zone. Some movement up front. No flags. Heavy set formation with a 2 wide receiver and a wing to the far side. It'll be a handoff. And the running back, Taylor, lunges forward, gets about 7 yards. A nice way to start the drive. Give yourself a little bit more breathing room.
You get that, 2nd and 3, long 3, short 4, you got more options you can run.
The Stars this year, they've got 4 losses. The first 2 against Sheridan and Western. Sheridan, of course, they lost at the very last play of the game on the failed 2-point conversion, as we get the run here from Taylor violently for the first down. Western, they lost the next week by 10 in what was a close game until the end. Tri-West defeated the Stars 41-14. Then the only other loss after that in the next 7 games was against Danville, which was a close game, ended up losing by 2 touchdowns there at the end. But the Stars have really started to button things up here lately, and they're ready to make a run here for this sectional championship. They've won the last 3 years in this game. Like we mentioned, it's the first time Seeger's been here in quite a while. Looking to hand off now to the left side, stumbling and dropped down after just 2 yards is the running back Taylor.
Yeah, I'm watching now the Seeger defense, and they are, when the guy goes in motion, the guy that has him on that side of the field, kind of a zone, drops back to help cover Connor. Right now you'll see Connor has single coverage, but if somebody goes in motion, the linebacker on that side will start to drop back.
Here we see this counter play, and it's working with Luke Marsh. Open field in front of him. He gets a block. He moves forward, one guy to beat, and he's finally brought down at the 29-yard line on the reverse, the counter. about everything you can ask for in a run there from the wingback, and he makes it all the way over to the 29-yard line of his own. A big play for Luke Marsh.
41-yard gain on that, and a lot of that was just Luke. He got in the open, and he avoided some tackles. Garrity gave him a good block. But again, Seeger's got good speed. They were able to catch him and keep him from getting to the end zone.
That was Marsh's second longest run of the year. He had one for 46 against Crawfordsville in the third week. That one for 41, as Coach Gray alluded to. Now with a handoff to the bruising running back, as Robbie Taylor gets about 5 yards on first down, nearing the red zone now. And Seeger was 6-4 last year under the guidance of Coach King. They had 8 straight losing seasons before that. Their best stretch in history was between 2001 and 2004. They were undefeated in the regular season for those first 3 years, and then were undefeated with a state win in 2004. But they have not been relevant for quite a while, and it's nice to see that Seeger's now in this sectional championship for the first time in quite a while. Here's now looking to throw to the end zone, to the corner where the man open is Baird, and Baird waiting for the official call. And he scores a touchdown. The Stars ahead by 13 early as Casey Baird gets a wide open throw. A perfect cushion between the defenders and a really good throw there from the quarterback, Elliott Young.
Yeah, and Casey, he had him kind of hit him in stride there a little bit and didn't have to slow down. He got behind the defender and
this Patriot team, they've got 6 sectional championships under their belt. This is the first. They have not won since 2004.
Josiah's extra point is good. Stars are up 14-0 with about 2.5 left in the first quarter. Again, that just everybody wants to go to Garrity and cover him, and then Baird just kind of snuck out of the backfield and got behind the defender that was out in the flat. And I don't know if the defender was thinking he had help behind him, but when he saw the ball in the air, he knew he had to try to catch up, and it's just a little bit too late.
Casey Baird so far this year through the air, he has now, coming into the game, he had 18 receptions for 181 yards and 3 touchdowns. He now has his 4th touchdown on the year through the air, and he's been a productive player on the ground as well. 11 carries for 56 yards and a touchdown through that regard, playing as the wing and slot receiver for this offense.
Yeah, ever since those first 2 games for the Stars against Sheridan and a very good Western team, which the Stars had a chance to win both of those, everyone's really the team started to come together and, working as a unit rather than a bunch of 11 individuals out there. And it's really it's paid off since then. And the Stars lost to a tough Danville and Tri-West team that you mentioned earlier.
And this Stars team is one that has 7 or 8 sophomores starting. They've got a young core here, and Coach Pelly's pretty excited about that. He was talking to me before the game about how excited he was. Now here's the kick return on the near side to the 33-yard line or so. They'll march that all the way over to the 35-yard line to start this one. The kick returner, Juan Schultz, again with his second kick return of the game, the junior. This Patriot team, they've won the Wabash River Championship 12 times. The last time was in 2006. They've got 1 state title that came in 2004, 2 semi-state titles, and 2 regional titles as well. Now looking to throw out of the gun. It'll be a handoff actually to the near side, lowering his shoulder. Open field tackle by Jake Johnson. And that was a nice tackle there, as we saw.
35 on the run.
Hunter Thomas, the freshman running back and linebacker, starts both ways as a 6-foot, 165-pound freshman. Now the quarterback's in the backfield with 1 running back. That's to his left. He'll take the handoff, is that running back. And now down after just a short gain was Peyton Martin.
41.
3rd down coming up here shortly. It'll be about 3rd and 5.
Yeah, 3rd and 5.
From the 40-yard line as this team Heads to the huddle, gets the play call. It looks like most of their players have the wristbands on, so they get the call in from the coach, and everyone looks down at their band, knows what they're doing. Now from the pistol formation, just the short gun, looking to throw to the near side, diving for it, reception made. Only a gain of 2, and they're short 3 for a first down. Carr with a reception.
Yeah, Carr went out and he sat down, but the ball was just outside of him a little bit. When he turned to catch it, he just had to go on down to the ground. He wasn't able to get any running out of it, any yards after catch.
He had a defender right there on him even, so even if he got the catch and was able to turn around, it would have been a struggle to get to that first down line. Nevertheless, here we go, 4th down and 3 with the punt team. Punting is Luke Plumer. Here's this punt, another beauty. This time it will be returned.
Baird from the 25.
Baird's got 7, now more. His longest return of the year, lowers his shoulder and gets a nice gain. Brings it near midfield to the 40, 46, 47-yard line. And we mentioned the ineptitude at that punt return position, and he gets by far the longest return for the Stars in the punting department so far this year. And the punt seemed to be a bit more of a line drive is what you'd want.
Right, it got down to him quick.
You want more of an arch there, allow your gunners to get there and either down the punt or make the tackle. But instead, like you mentioned, it got to the punt returner pretty quick.
Yeah, it's a 22-yard return for number 22.
Garrity, the lone receiver on the near side, 2 wing backs, an extra blocker, and the running back gets the handoff. And making some moves up in the middle is Robbie Taylor. Lowers his shoulder and gets 5. And that's basically what you get from Robbie Taylor. You get almost a guaranteed 5 yards on every play. Every now and then he'll break it for longer, and then every now and then he'll go for less. But so far, what is it, his fourth or fifth run that he's gone for 5 yards exactly. Yeah. And now we'll have 2nd down and 5.
There's the end of the first quarter. Woody Hayes was always 4 yards and a yard of dust. Well, 2.5 plays, you're going to get a first down. So you get that 5 yards on your first down. That's huge for the offense.
And that's tough for the defense, too. We'll get more into that after this break here on WB TV Sports.
Sportsmanship doesn't happen just on the court or on the field or on the mat. It doesn't happen only in the pool or on the green or the track. It also happens in the stands, on the sidelines, on the web, and at home. That's because sportsmanship is everyone's responsibility. We remind you to practice good sportsmanship at all high school sporting events. Treat athletes and officials with respect during competition and especially in social media. And support your team's coaching staff. Remember, sportsmanship has a face. Yours. A message from your high school and the Indiana High School Athletic Association.
Welcome back here to Seeger Memorial High School. Some scoring updates real quick here. Triton Central ahead 14-0 against Providence. They're favored to win that game. Tri-West and Danville tied up at 7 now. Same with the Lapel and Tipton game. Heritage Christian and Shenandoah will play the winner of this game in front of us. That score right now is Heritage Christian 3, Shenandoah 0, and then Pioneer 8, Bremen 0 as we get back in the action here. 2nd down and 5 from the 48-yard line of their opponent. The handoff goes to Taylor. Taylor surges forward, and they'll give him 3 yards. And we were talking about before the break, Coach, that when you get those 5, 6, 7-yard gains on first down, it really makes it hard on the defense.
Right, because like, we talk about it, just the playbook's opened up a little bit more. You have more options on that.
And maybe you can get a good stop on 2nd down, but then 3rd down, it's still 3rd and manageable.
Correct.
So it's tough when you get those big gains on first down. That's been the Stars' bread and butter so far throughout this year. This time it'll be another reverse.
A little counter play. I don't know if that's Marsh that ran that or not. That's his play. That was.
So he's from the left wing. He runs it like a reverse, plants his foot, and does the counter like we mentioned. That's the one that got the 41 yards earlier. This time he gets 3 yards and a first down.
And then, there's been just a lot of running, so the game's going quick. Both teams running the ball a lot, going with their strong part.
Averaging just under 40 rushes a game for both of these teams. Here's the handoff. Will go up the middle to Taylor. Flag flies. Taylor gets about 5 or 6 yards.
Yeah, that's the holding area right there.
And that came right in the beginning of the plays that started to develop, so I think you might be right.
Face mask. Oh, face mask against the Patriots.
Yeah, so instead of a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, it'll be a 15-yard penalty on the face mask. And Robbie Taylor.
From the end of the play as well.
Robbie Taylor, his biggest game this year, he had 147 rushing yards against Western. He's averaging just over 100 yards per game. And, of course, against that Western team, he also had an 80-yard rush to show off his wheels, the 200-plus pound running back. Ron Cauley and Lebanon playing tied up at 7 at the end of the first. Our score here, 14-0. Ball's at the 33-yard line, 1st and 10, heavy set formation, march in motion. And it'll be looking to throw, but with some pressure over to the end zone and just through the hands of the 6'4" wide receiver, Connor Garrity. Incomplete pass. He had him open, but Garrity couldn't hold on. In the book on the quarterback, Elliott Young, if you can put pressure in his face, he's going to make mistakes. That's how all quarterbacks are. But even with him, if he just smells a little bit of pressure, he can struggle at times. But when he gets that clean pocket, he can really make some beautiful throws. That time he had a rusher in his face, had to force the throw maybe a bit before he wanted to, and wasn't able to get the separation that you'd like on the outside from Garrity.
He had a couple good scrambles last week.
This time met behind the line of scrimmage, but still finds 2 yards on the plays. The running back, Robbie Taylor. In the touchdown pass we saw earlier here from Elliott Young, where he found the pocket in the zone, where he had his wing back, Casey Barrett, open in the end zone. He had time to look through his progressions and find the open man, and he made a really good throw. It's just when you put some pressure on him is when he starts to really struggle. 3rd down and long. Here we go. Big play for this defense.
Pitch.
Looking to throw deep. Gets it over to Miller. And pass incomplete. Perfect coverage by the defender on the play.
He fakes that little pitch out right there. So I think this is 4th down territory for the Stars.
We had the linebacker, Peyton Martin, in coverage. And with a really nice pass break up there, was a pretty good throw from the quarterback as well. But there's not much you can do as a receiver if you're Mitch Miller when you have that much of a blanket coverage.
Right. It was good coverage by the defense.
4th down and 9. Make that 8 from the 31-yard line of their own. The line to gain is the 21. With some pressure now, scrambling out to the far side. Throws this one, and it is almost intercepted, incomplete. Turnover on downs.
Yeah, we had a receiver get hit, but it was not the receiver that was defending him. He was defending the other star receiver in the area, and there was no flag thrown, and justifiably. That was a good no call.
The Patriot quarterback, Owen Snedeker, gets there on coverage and nearly comes out with the interception. And the dropped interception actually gave them about 10 yards field position on the turnover on downs. So now set up at the 31, 1st and 10 here. Under 10 to go in the first half. We've got the 1 wing back, 1 running back, and 3 wide receiver look. Rolling out to the near side, gets a block from his running backs, looks to throw, and he has to get rid of that one as the pressure came from Luke Marsh. Incomplete pass. And this is the first lefty quarterback I've seen this year, and it takes a bit to get used to, but when he's running on that near side, he actually has a bit more time to let go of the ball because he's a lefty.
Careful now, I am too.
No, I didn't say anything bad about lefties. No. If we want to go into that conversation, we can.
I think the last left-handed quarterback Western Boone had was Jake Kramer.
With a handoff to the right side, now cutting back up is Martin, the running back. He just sifts his way through traffic for about a 4-yard gain. And then the one left-handed quarterback while we're on this in the NFL is Tua Tagovailoa. Of course, probably probably the best left-handed quarterback you could think of would be Steve Young. You don't see it very often, but those southpaws can be dangerous. And even on the defense, it takes some adjusting to get used to. Usually when you think of containing the quarterback, you can allow him to get off to his opposite side because he has to make a tougher throw, but here he gets to the near side. The catch is made, drops to the ground.
He just not able to make a move after the catch.
So now we'll see 4th down and short. As once again, the quarterback, Snedeker, went rolling out to his left side, and he was able to make the throw there, but just not able to give his wide receiver a chance to get the first down. And now the punt team comes out.
Now, if you notice that, we call our linemen the hogs, so they bring their hogs out on these punts so they can get their speed in there to get down the field to cover.
Back to return is Baird. The high snap, he gets it and he punts this one, a high punt itself. And it's going to get a nice bounce here for the Patriots. Goes an extra 5 or 6 yards inside the 40-yard line to the 37. And the Stars will take over 1st and 10.
Good job by the defense that series.
Looking at some numbers here from John Harrell. He gives Western Boone a 62% chance to win the sectional championship, 32% chance to advance past regionals, 14% semi-state, and 6% state. And of course, those numbers don't really mean anything, but as far as Seeger goes, they have a 38% chance to win tonight, 15% chance to advance past regionals, 5% and 2% for semi-state and state. Now moving around the offensive line. With a heavy set, handoff goes to the running back who lowers his shoulder twice and pushes forward for about 5 yards.
That might be the other Taylor or Marsh. It was Marsh.
It was Marsh. And he's the guy that you see a lot more speed from typically, but there he lowered his shoulder and gained a few extra yards on 2 different occasions there on that run.
Yeah, and you usually don't see him running up the middle like that unless it's off that little counter play, and even that, it's off tackle a little bit.
We mentioned Harold's predictions. He thinks this game will end 28-24 in the Stars' favor. Indy Star thinks about the same thing, 27-20. But right now the Stars up by 2 touchdowns, looking to advance that lead. But here we've got to stop for a loss.
No, we got to. They're giving about 2 yards. They knocked him back. They gave him forward progress.
Now we've got 3rd down and medium after the run by Marsh.
3rd and about 2, long 3, short 4.
At about the 43-yard line. These two teams have only played once. That was in 2002 in this sectional championship. Seeger won the game, now looking to throw to the near side. Taylor drops it. And once again, the pressure was on the quarterback, and he just couldn't get a nice ball over to Taylor. Taylor had some open room. Would have got the first down if he was able to make the catch. Right. But it was low, and now the punt team will likely come out here for Western Boone.
Which will be Smith, the punt for the Stars.
So in 02, Seeger defeated the Stars 28-24 in this sectional championship, and then they lost by the same score Seeger did to Cecina in the regionals. And that was one of the seasons, of course, that they were undefeated throughout the regular season. Now looking to punt is Smith, the booming kick, and it will be returned near the 20-yard line.
I thought his knee hit, so the official.
And that will count, looks to be around the 19-yard line. A punt inside the 20 for Smith. That's his 3rd punt inside the 20-yard line. We've seen
the 19, you said?
Yeah, we've seen some pretty big kicks here going from left to right from each team now.
Right. Like I said, I just can't get over how good a shape this field is.
Just the facilities here in general of Seeger, it impresses me. They've got a really nice building. I'm told that their weight room is state-of-the-art inside. They've got 2 weight rooms, actually. And maybe the stadium lights ahead of us are next level. Here's the next throw on the near side.
9.
Caught by Plumer, who's dropped for only a gain of about 6 or 7. Now set up second down and about 5 from the 25-yard line.
Now looking, checking their wristbands.
Set up with a single back formation to the left of the quarterback. He gets the handoff.
41.
And he cuts it back inside. Gains a few yards. Peyton Martin with the rush. Some more scores here. Triton Central 21, Providence 0. Ron Colley 21, Lebanon 7. Heritage Christian with a 10-point lead early against Shenandoah. That's 10-0. Pioneer 16, Bremen 0. Tipton 14, Lapel 7. And then our final score here so far brought to you by Andy Hoskins. Danville 14, Tri-West 7 as Danville scores 2 touchdowns in response to Tri-West's early score. Same formation as the last one, third down and short. It'll be a quarterback keeper. The option play succeeds for the first down.
Like he's going to get it.
Owen Snedeker gets a few extra yards. He'll be near the 31-yard line, and it'll be enough to gain the first down.
And their fans like it.
These two teams match up so well that what's going to be key in this game is offensive efficiency. You cannot go 2 straight drives, 3 and out, so it's important that they were able to gain that first down, and they really need to be efficient the rest of the way here because they're not going to get as many opportunities as you would if you were in a shootout here. They're going to be running the ball quite a bit. Projection. Now we'll see the tackle for a loss by Ryan Baird. The running back was Peyton Martin.
Caught him in the backfield on that little jet sweep again.
We mentioned Ryan Taylor with a tackle for the loss there, at least near the line of scrimmage. Looking at his numbers so far this year, he's got 51 total tackles, 24 by himself, 3 for a loss. Comes out to 5 per game.
So they've got second and long.
Second and 14 from the 27-yard line of their own. Here's this offense. Carr's in motion. He gets the jet sweep handoff. He's got some blockers in front of him. Cuts it back upfield. Makes another move. And all that for 3 yards, maybe 4.
The Western Boone defense on the outside players, they're getting deep enough to turn him back inside. And when that happens, everybody just swarms to the ball.
And the Stars' interior defense is so stout that your best chance at gaining chunk plays is on those outside zones, on the jet sweeps, and on runs of that nature. So it's going to be important here that they can really get to the edge quicker and have their blockers set up quicker so they can get those gains because they have not found success running it up the middle so far today. Looking to throw now, third down and long. Snedeker is sacked.
No, don't go in there late.
The Stars that appear to be Perrin Emberton in on the sack. Was one of them at least. And now we'll see a punt. Bruins was in as well in the area. And you mentioned a bit of a concern for the late hit on the quarterback, but no flags were thrown. We've got 1 first down on the drive, and now stalls. We'll see 4th down punt. Under 3 minutes to go here in this first half. The punt almost blocked. A high one gets the Stars bounce. And now it will be around the 46-yard line of the hosting Patriots. Nice field position for the Stars to try to take the 3-touchdown lead.
Yeah, Stars are starting in Patriot side of the 50.
Seeger will get the ball to start the second half. Still plenty of time here for the Stars to mount a drive as they only have to go half the distance of the field. And if they score quick enough, might even see a second drive in a row from Seeger. Spread formation, Taylor the running back. Young with trips wing on the near side. Handoff goes to the running back, and Taylor gains 3 yards before he's brought down. The Seeger defense has done pretty well in the interior at least in spurts. We've seen some big plays from the Stars on the ground, and that's what they've been doing all year. But Seeger has been limiting him on a lot of these short gains. We've seen a few times, especially when they're trying to run it right up the middle.
Yeah,
Seeger team's been pretty stout.
They've got some big boys on their D line, and it's just one of those things where you just have to beat your men each time. Beat your men each time.
Looking to throw. That one's
Catch the
dropped
ball.
by the
Garrity.
6'4" wide receiver Garrity. He has not had a catch yet. He's got 2 drops already. 3rd and 7. And Coach King here said to the commercial news that he wants his team to sustain his offensive drives and capitalize on the opportunities to score. They have not done either of those so far today.
Right.
It's going to be important if they can change that up. Now with some movement on the defense. Single back formation under the center. Looking to throw, rolling out to the right side. He's got room to run. Elliott Young will.
Down.
Tucks it. He's going to cut it back upfield. Elliott Young making guys miss. And he stumbles down to the 1-yard line.
I mean, it looked like he was going to run out of bounds. He had pursuit, and he kind of gave a little juke, and the guy could not get stopped to turn around, and he was able to get outside or back into the inside and avoid another tackle and got the ball down to the 4-yard line. About the 3-yard line.
44 keepers for the quarterback this year, 200 yards on the ground, and 6 rushing touchdowns. Almost had a 7th there and stumbled at the 3. 1st and goal, handoff goes to Taylor. Taylor is stopped. So we'll have to see 2nd down as the pounding running back not able to get it in.
Timeout Stars.
With that, we'll take a timeout as well. Be back with 1:18 left on the clock. Will the Stars score or will they not?
Thank you for tuning in and supporting WBTV Sports and Western Boone Athletics. This broadcast is made possible by the support of Western Boone, North Montgomery, Crawfordsville, and Southmont schools. This is a student-run production that works very hard to provide viewers like you with a professional broadcast. This live broadcast is a great way to prepare us, your future broadcasters, with real-world experience. Thank you for your support.
2-yard line.
Welcome back here to Seeger High School. Bit of a drive for the Stars, went a little over an hour.
While we have some time here right now, I want to give a shout-out to someone who couldn't be here tonight, and it's just killing him, and that's number 22's dad, Kurt Baird. And he's part of the coaching staff, and he's normally up on top of the press box doing the video. But due to the good old COVID, him and his daughter are at home watching this, hopefully listening to us and watching it. But it's killing him not to be able to be here.
He's one of my favorite guys to talk to pregame.
Yeah,
I'm glad he's able to watch here. Hopefully we get him back up above us here shortly in the press box.
Yeah, he loves his job. He started being an aide at the high school, and he just loves it. He loves being around the kids, and the kids love him.
And he films the games here for the Stars so they can watch it back throughout the week. Game film on Huddle. Here's the next play. Heavy set formation, and the running back takes it in for a score. Robbie Taylor with the 3rd touchdown of the game for the Stars, and they're just getting started. 20-0 your score. 1:14 to go in the first half, and Robbie Taylor gets the touchdown rush.
I'll tell you what, if the line, there was a hole there that I could have ran into the end zone. But it closed pretty quick, so his size got him through there. They would have hit me, I would have fallen down.
I think you're more safe up here in the booth sitting next to me, Coach.
I like it. I like it up here.
Here is the next
All right.
PAT. 3 for 3 so far in the day for Josiah Smith after he had some struggles in that category last week. So Bruins has the defensive touchdown. We've got the connection from the quarterback Young to that wide receiver and the wing back, with Casey Baird. And then the 3rd touchdown for the Stars was the run up the middle. And we'll continue this game shortly. Be back in 20 on WBTV Sports.
This broadcast is made possible by generous support from our sponsors, including Travis Wattring of Farm Bureau Insurance. He's your local Lebanon agent. Give him a call at 765-482-0700 and ask him. He can help. That's Travis Wattring at 765-482-0700. Farm Bureau Insurance. Stop knocking on wood.
Welcome back. Nathaniel Finch and Coach Gray here for WBTV Sports as we're nearing the end of the first half here at Seeger Memorial High School on the grass field for the sectional championship of 2A Sectional 37. Winner will move on to face either Heritage Christian or Shenandoah on the road in either case.
You know the Stars are not going to kick it deep because they know they've got some fast guys back there. The norm has always been to kick it just a little bit short.
We'll see what kind of kick they decide to go here. The third time they've had to do so today. That one will be down to around inside the 30. We'll call it the 28-yard line. And now we'll see this offense come out. They've done next to nothing today, but they have 1:13 to work with. They've got decent starting field position, but they're going to have to move the ball pretty quick. We can't just see a bunch of inside runs.
Yeah, and this what makes me nervous a lot of times because they're going to go hurry up. Well, now they find out, hey, this hurry up's working for us. If they're able to move down the field and get it, and they come out and they go with that.
Yeah, we'll see if it works or not, but that could be something maybe that this team will try. They like to go with a slower pace, but maybe the hurry-up will be what helps them. Going into the second half, here's the handoff up the middle, but doesn't go for more than a yard. The stop by a slew of Stars there.
41 on the carry, Martin.
Peyton Martin's been the main ball carrier today. We would typically see Jameson Sprague in a running back as well. He's a 5'11", 220-pound senior, a big guy, but he broke his foot last week, and he'll be out for the remainder of the season in all likelihood.
Yeah, and you hate to see that happen to anybody. It's, you heard about McCutcheon.
Moving up the middle. No, I didn't hear about McCutcheon.
They had to Zionsville. They were coming down to play Zionsville for the sectional championship, and due to COVID, they can't play. So Zionsville's sectional champions without playing. And
yeah, Heritage Christian was the same way last week. They didn't have to play the round 2, and now they're automatically in the sectional championship. Danville got a free pass week in the first week of the tournament as well. There we saw a face masks by the Stars. So that'll give some extra yardage here to the end of the play. 24.5 seconds to go for the Patriots near midfield. They're going to need to move quickly from the pistol formation. Spread formation with the two wings on the inside. It'll be a handoff that loses yardage. They'll lose about 1 yard, and I guess that calls it quits on this first half. A team that's down by 21, not wanting to risk anything and go deep, so they'll let the clock run out. We talked about the Heritage Christian game. They're ahead against Shenandoah 10-7. Triton Central's ahead 27-0 against Providence. Ron Colley 28, Lebanon 7. And finally, the Danville and Tri-West stuck at 14-7 to score. Our score here 21-0. An unlikely outcome for the first half, but the Stars are ahead on the road, and we'll come back shortly on, well, it looks like actually they're going to make a correction. They're going to give 1 second left as the coaching staff called a timeout here, so hold our horses a little bit. We've got one more play, and you just got to make sure you don't give up the defensive touchdown. If you're this team, they already have given up one.
And if there's a defensive penalty, they'll get another down. An untimed down.
So we'll see if they can score on this last play. We mentioned earlier, Bruins had the fumble recovered for a touchdown to begin the game on the first drive for this Seeger team after the offense was forced to punt for Western Boone. And we were talking about Sprague here, Jameson Sprague, the senior. This year he had 44 carries, 414 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground, and he also had 15 receptions for over 200 yards and a touchdown through the air. That'll end his senior season. You hate to see that.
There's a college down in south central Indiana. I think their colors are cream and crimson, but they had a lot of laterals to score a touchdown last week. I don't know if you saw that or not.
Yeah.
So you never know.
We'll see if this works. Second down with the short pass. Some room to run, cutting it upfield. Now with some blockers. Race Carr, the wide receiver. And he's running like a race car now as he heads out of bounds. And that I believe, will end the first half after the timeout with a second left. The clock finally rolls down. It was a nice play, maybe a bit of a momentum builder.
Right.
As you're heading into this halftime, of course, you're down by 3 touchdowns, but you have at least a little bit of light that you can maybe build upon, and maybe that's a play we'll see later, and maybe we'll see some more instances where they get the ball out in space to their wide receivers.
Yeah, they got he got started on this side of the field, and when he cut across the other side, he started picking up some blockers. And I think he was actually caught from behind a little bit because he had to hesitate and let his blocker set up. That was a nice play by the Patriots.
Yeah, we'll see if they can build on that for the second half. Lapel is tied at 14 with Tipton. The Stars are ahead 21-0 on the road at Patriot Field, Seeger Memorial High School. For Nathaniel Finch and Don Gray, will be back shortly after halftime on WBTV Sports.
Want to know what I like best about playing basketball for my high school? I like it because it's a place where my friends get to see me play. I like it because I'm playing for someone besides myself. I'm playing for everybody in my school and every person in my community.
Indiana high school sports. They're more than just a game.
Come and see me play.
Meet Tommy. Tommy's not sure which sport he will play in high school someday. But no matter what he ends up choosing, playing sports in high school will help pave the way to a happier, healthier life. All Tommy needs to do is make up his mind. High school sports. Pure spirit, pure sport. Pure launching pad for life.
Question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in Indiana, who do you meet? Answer. Men and women who played high school sports. Education-based high school sports give us more than athletes we can root for. They give us leaders we can depend on. Question. So where will we find tomorrow's leaders? Answer. High school sports.
This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. Are you a fan of exciting action, great sporting atmosphere, and good displays of sportsmanship?
I am definitely a fan.
High school sports, pure spirit, pure sport, pure entertainment value.
I don't think of this as a high school weight room. It's more like a high school classroom. I'm learning how to manage my time here. I'm learning that it's important to have goals and that it takes persistence and commitment to reach them. And I'm learning that the best way to lead is by example.
Indiana High School Sports. They're more than just a game.
Come and see me play.
A wintry Friday night. A packed gymnasium in a tight-knit community. A shot taken. History made. A state of delirium? No. The state of Indiana. High school sports. Pure spirit, pure sport, pure Indiana. This message brought to you by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the high schools in your community. Are you a fan of amazing spirit, incredible drama, and affordable ticket prices?
I'm definitely a fan.
High school sports, pure spirit, pure sport, pure entertainment value. Sportsmanship doesn't happen just on the court or on the field or on the mat. It doesn't happen only in the pool or on the green or the track. It also happens in the stands, on the sidelines, on the web, and at home. That's because sportsmanship is everyone's responsibility. We remind you to practice good sportsmanship at all high school sporting events. Treat athletes and officials with respect during competition and especially in social media. And support your team's coaching staff. Remember, sportsmanship has a face. Yours. A message from your high school and the Indiana High School Athletic Association. A crisp October evening. A stadium filled with fans. A pass through. A journey completed. A state of euphoria? No. The state of Indiana. High school sports. Pure spirit. Pure sport. Pure Indiana. This message brought to you by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the high schools in your community. The debate about sports specialization by high school athletes continues. Some argue that high school athletes who play one sport all year long have a better chance of landing a lucrative pro contract. But that's simply not true. In fact, 30 of the 32 first-round picks in last year's NFL draft played more than one sport in high school. Of the 32 players drafted, 22 also participated in high school track and field. 19 also played basketball. Some also played baseball and lacrosse. What's the path to success for high school athletes here in Indiana, no matter what their goals might be? Study hard. Always do your best. And if you can, play more than one sport in high school. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends. How to fit in. How to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 160,000 participants here in Indiana who take part in high school sports.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start?
Here, in the classroom.
On the diamond.
In the pool. On the field.
Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah! Be great.
Participate!
In one word, I would describe Western Boone as welcoming.
Caring.
Incredible.
Western Boone is the hub of the community, not necessarily right in a metropolis, so to speak.
It is close to Indianapolis. It is close to some of those major things. But also being a part of the Western Boone area involves a community that's with you to support you.
We have tiny little towns all around us. We have kids who live in the middle of the country. They're able to come together, be together, focus on one another here. This is the heart.
For being what's considered to be a smaller rural school, we have made a conscious effort to provide many opportunities for our students.
Western Boone is preparing me for the future in so many ways. It's unbelievable.
Some of the courses that we take are challenging, but we also get to have some fun.
The teachers are very specialized in their teaching field, and they teach to the students' interests, not just to the test and the book.
Everything we do as teachers is for the kids. We try to make sure our classrooms are very student-centered, and we really hope that every student succeeds.
Every teacher really strives to teach all different types of learners.
And the teachers make me feel very special because they make you feel more like family rather than just another student.
So I try to reach all of my students and just make a personal contact, get to know them as individuals, not just people sitting at my desk. I often call them my kids because I look at them that way. I get them for 180 days, and I try to know them in and out.
I love teaching here because I know if I have a kid who needs help, I'm not the only one who's going to help them.
You're more than just a student to those teachers, and I see it and hear it all the time when I talk to not only our students, but our parents.
When the kids are in the halls, the teachers know them by name. They know something about them.
And you don't see that in larger schools. But at the same time, Western Boone is large enough that we provide opportunities in almost every area that a large school can provide. Western Boone has strived to be ahead in student technology with having the same laptop to take home because it provides opportunities for all students.
I am so thankful that Western Boone has embraced technology the way that it has. I use technology in my classroom every single day. It's so much more engaging, and test scores and assessments really prove that the technology is beneficial for the students.
I really like how Western Boone uses technology to help us keep in touch with our students' academics.
We get emails almost daily from both schools with updates as to what's going on campus and activities, and I really like that. We always know what's going on, and it really makes you feel a part of the community.
We've always found that students that are involved in activities are more successful and more prepared when they leave the building.
The teachers here at Western Boone not only push the kids academically, but they also encourage them to be involved.
I think sometimes at a larger district or larger schools, you may get labeled to do that one thing, and that's pretty much what you're going to do throughout your high school career. At Western Boone, it's very nice that you can go from one to the other activity as the seasons change, and it's very much encouraged.
Students with a passion can chase any dream here at Western Boone, and if they're passionate enough and work hard at it, they can be successful.
Welcome back here to Seeger Memorial High School. We've got about 4 minutes to go before the teams will retake the field. The score, as you can see, Western Boone with 3 touchdowns to open up the game, and Seeger still scoreless. They have struggled mightily on both offense and defense. The game started with a Cannon Bruins fumble recovery for a touchdown. Then Casey Barrett had a touchdown reception. And then finally Robbie Taylor with a touchdown rush up the middle on the right side. Do we have some stats we can go over?
Sure do. Surprisingly, you're watching the game, you don't think of this, but both teams have 5 first downs. Western Boone has 16 rushes for 128 yards. Seeger has 13 rushes for only 7 yards. Now, they've had some players have some nice gains, but when you get the sacks and the yard loss, tackles for loss, that takes away from your yardage. Western Boone is 1 for 6 for no yardage, and Seeger is 5 for 7. I'm sorry, 1 for 6, and Seeger is 5 for 7. Western Boone has 26 yards in receiving, and Seeger has 19. Teams in plays, Western Boone 22, Seeger 21. Western Boone has 154 total yards, and Seeger has 26. 1 turnover was the fumble that was returned for a touchdown, which was huge, I think, for both teams, in a positive way for the Stars and a negative way for the Patriots. Western Boone is 2 for 4, 50% for third down conversions, and Seeger is 2 for 7, and neither team is able to convert their fourth down attempt.
See, and that's interesting because we came into this one knowing that offensive efficiency was going to be a huge key, as these teams, they're extremely run-oriented, almost 40 carries per game for each team, so they don't necessarily allow for a ton of drives, contrary to maybe if you were throwing the ball and it only took 2 and 3 minutes to mount a drive. Here, these drives can take almost a full quarter, so the fact that the teams, Western Boone only 50% on third down, and they haven't converted a fourth down, and then Seeger being 2 for 7, that's really a big reason why Seeger's down big, is because they have not been able to pick up those third down conversions. They've not been able to move the chains, and they really haven't been able to mount a drive.
And there's been a couple of series where the Stars start on the Seeger side of the 50, and Seeger always starts deep in their own territory. We were talking at halftime, and I think we have a little time to talk about this, that I think we need to give a shout-out to Western Boone's athletic director, Jeremy Dexter. This time of the year, you've got football still going on, girls basketball starting, your winter sports practices are starting, and a lot of things are going on with the COVID, and I coach junior high girls, and we're constantly getting emails. He keeps us up to date of everything that's going on, and I mean, and he stands by what he says, and he wants you to do what he says, and if somebody doesn't like doing it, you send them to him, and he'll set them straight. I mean, he's doing a great job, and you have a lot of respect for that.
You know, it's a hard enough job being the athletic director, especially this time of year when the football team's going into the tournament and all the other stuff you mentioned, but then throw in the fact that he's got to coordinate all this on top of the fact that, you know, everything changes by the minute, you know, these days with the COVID and everything else that's going on, that he may have his schedule set for maybe a sports team, and then a sickness comes in, and then he's got to change up all the dates that he has planned for practices, and it's really impressive what he's been able to do here, and in a job that's hard enough in normal times, and then you throw in a pandemic.
Well, and then you got to look at your officials. You have officials scheduled. One of them gets sick. Now you've got to try to find someone to replace them, and if there's several of them sick, they're hard to find. Like tomorrow, the girls varsity will be playing West Lafayette at Western Boone, and they're not bringing their JV because there's, you know, their JV's quarantined. It's the same thing with Plainfield's JV the next week or so. So the girls varsity will get a play, but their JVs will not.
Back to this game, the score 21-0. You have about 2.5 minutes before we kick off, and just looking into some success that the Stars have had in the postseason. We mentioned 13 straight winning seasons. They've won the Sagamore Athletic Conference 9 times. They have 10 sectional championships, including each of the past 3 years, and they're in good position to add an 11th there. They have 6 2A regional championships, 4 semi-state championships, and then 3 state championships. Those came in 1988, 2018, and 2019. As far as Seeger and looking at their success in the postseason, they have 12 Wabash River championships, 6 sectional titles, 2 regionals, 2 semi-states, and a state championship title that came in 2004. The Stars came into this game, their strength of schedule rating from John Harrell was 43, and then to put that in perspective, Seeger's strength of schedule was only 26. So the Stars have played some really tough opponents so far this year, and it showed here that once they get into sectional action, they're really putting on a pounding for some of these teams.
Right, and it really helps the Stars. They ended up getting, I think, 3rd in the Sagamore Conference behind. Danville was undefeated. Tri-West had 1 loss. That was to Danville. And the Stars had 2 losses, Tri-West and Danville. And, Stars are the 2A team, and Southmont is 2A in the conference. And Tri-West and Danville are both 3A. And then Lebanon and Frankfort, I think, at one point were 4A. I don't know for sure where they're at now. I think Lebanon still is 4A. But, the conference really gets you ready for the tournament.
Yeah, and you look at teams like Eastbrook, who they go and they play a really easy regular season schedule against a lot of 1A and 2A teams. Then they get into the postseason, and they lost to Tipton last week by, I think, 17 points. So you play those easy regular season games, and when it gets to sectionals and when it gets to playoffs, it's a struggle when you have to play those tougher teams.
Yeah, well, and Western Boone's lucky because of our geographic location and within the conference. We're actually in the center of the conference. And, each distance, I think Danville might be the longest travel we have to make. Where, in Eastbrook, to play some of the schools like we do, it wouldn't be physically responsible, I guess, to travel very far, paying for all that gas mileage.
The next kick coming here from Josiah Smith. And the Stars, this one is a line drive that lands around the 11-yard line, taking it to return to the near side now with some speed is Carr, and he's brought down near the 31, 32-yard line. And looking at the schedule here for Seeger, we mentioned the opening week loss against Twin Lakes. That was actually the second week of the season they did not play. in the first week like everybody else did. Jay County, they defeated 41-0, and Jay County, I believe, is winless this year. Riverton Park, they won 48-8. Covington 65-14. Fountain Central 52-6. And then Sheridan, a team the Stars also played. Seeger won that game 28-14. Western Boone lost by 1. And here's the next play, a run up the middle. It doesn't gain more than 1. And then now lately they lost to South Vermilion 25-15. Defeated North Vermilion 38-0. Beat South Vermilion the second time. That time it was a 6-point win, and then Cascade they defeated. So just that schedule, I mean, of course they've only lost 2 games, not taking anything away from their season, but they've played a lot of easier teams than the Stars have.
Yeah, and that's true. But you still have to be good to get here. And, it's one of those things that on any given night, especially with the COVID, somebody gets to where they're out of the game. They're missing one of their top players.
Looking to throw this one to the far side. 2 flags thrown. And even if the play stands without any penalties, it was incomplete.
Pass was completed, 35, Hunter Thomas.
Andrian is ahead 7-0 against Rensselaer. Low-scoring game over there. Ron Colley still 28, Lebanon 7. Triton Central had 27-0 against Providence. And then Heritage Christian 24, Shenandoah 7. And if the scores hold, both Western Boone and Heritage Christian hold a big lead. They would, that game, if these scores did hold, the Stars would travel to Heritage Christian. Last year in the regionals, Heritage Christian came to Western Boone. The ball advances after the penalties are counted.
It's illegal block, chop block. I've never seen it called on the defense before, but it can happen. But it's good enough for a first down. Out to their 46.
So now we'll see 1st and 10. Under 11 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Lined up with a couple wing backs and a running back behind him in a full house formation. Miscommunication, quarterback keeper. He gets 5 yards on the play, Owen Snedeker. As he had the running back split behind him, and he had 2 wings, and he seemed to just turn to the wrong side that his running back did, and it led to the quarterback keeper and actually gained about 5 yards on first down. Like we talked about earlier, that sets your team up nicely for 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, he's got half of that, and, a penalty on the Stars could get him a first down.
From the 49-yard line of the Stars, the hosting Patriots take the snap, hand it off. And we're in the high 50s here tonight. That time, number 50, Zane Sturgis gets the tackle for a loss. It'll lose 2 on the run play up the middle. And now we will see a 3rd down as they adjust the marker, 3rd and 7.
3rd and 7.
After being on the Stars 49, they backed up now to about the Patriot 49-yard line, right at near midfield. 3rd down, 4-down territory.
Somebody might have to call a timeout here. Yeah, there we go. Play clock was getting down.
That'll be the first timeout called. That one by Seeger. And with that, we'll take a break here at Seeger Memorial High School and be back shortly. Nathaniel Finch and Coach Gray on WBTV Sports.
Meet Tommy. Tommy's not sure which sport he will play in high school someday. But no matter what he ends up choosing, playing sports in high school will help pave the way to a happier, healthier life. All Tommy needs to do is make up his mind. High school sports. Pure spirit, pure sport. Pure launching pad for life.
Welcome back. We are here at Seeger High School. The Patriots, they're down by 3 scores, trying to make that 2 scores. But first, it's 3rd down and 7 from their own 49-yard line. Big play here as Seeger started the half with the ball.
If they get some decent yardage here, they may go use that fourth down to try to get the first down. It's just, down 3 scores, second half.
Ideally, you want at least half of the yardage here, get 3 or 4 yards from the gun. Single back formation, looking to throw. Has a man open. It's caught for a first down, and still marching forward. Gets a really nice gain over to the 30-yard line before forward progress is stopped.
Number 12. That's Steven.
And that's the first catch by Cal Steven. He's been banged up with a hamstring injury. We've seen him mostly just on defense. And now when they put him in offense, the leading receiver for the Patriots converts the first down in a tough spot. Looking at his numbers, 762 receiving yards on 48 catches, 11 receiving touchdowns, leads the team in all 3 of those categories through the air.
And that's why they called a timeout.
Spread formation with the wing to the left side. It'll be a reverse, a fumble. And
Stars have
we got it. It looks like the Stars may have recovered their second fumble of the game.
Jake Johnson looked like.
Bruins had the fumble earlier. Now Johnson gets it.
Nope, that was Marsh. I think Johnson just covered Marsh up so that nobody could jump on and try to get it out of him.
The second fumble lost by this Seeger team. They've lost 9 now so far this year.
Saying that right there, they had a nice drive going, called timeout, got the first down they needed.
And that's a third fumble recovery this year for Luke Marsh, the team's 13th fumble recovery. They forced 16. Single back formation, quarterback keeper to the far side, and he's stopped as he's got 2 guys, and now 2 flags are thrown at the end of the play.
I think they slammed him down. They had him stopped, the whistle's blowing, and if they would have just fell to the ground, but it looked like kind of did a slam.
Owen Smith in on the tackle, along with Peyton Martin. And we saw that yesterday in the Thursday night football game. There was a play where one of the players had wrapped up the offensive player, and rather than just letting go or taking him to the ground, he kind of body slammed him over to his side on the 49ers and Packers game. And that's kind of what we saw there, unnecessary.
Yep.
And now rather than gaining just a yard, they'll get a first down.
Actually, it was a loss.
And they'll move into opponent territory inside the 45 at the 44, 1st and 10. The Stars in the spread formation.
Sideline warning.
Pistol formation with the trips wing to the near side. Garrity, the lone receiver, looking to throw. Looking to the middle of the field with Marsh. Marsh with a catch. Marsh on his feet. Marsh will score. Luke Marsh gets the fumble recovery, and then the ensuing touchdown for Western Boone.
I tell you what, if people watching Ellie at that time, he sidestepped the rush, stepped back up into the pocket, and delivered that ball right in stride to Marsh. He trusted his line really well that time, and had a good pocket. He just stepped right up inside of it.
This defense has schemed away Connor Garrity on the offensive side of the ball, but 2 different receivers after that catching a touchdown pass. Marsh, the latest one. The PAT is good. The score 28-0 after the fumble recovery set up by Marsh and the touchdown by the same player. We'll take a break here and be back in 20 seconds on WB TV Sports.
Thank you for tuning in and supporting WBTV Sports and Western Boone Athletics. This broadcast is made possible by the support of Western Boone, North Montgomery, Crawfordsville, and Southmont schools. This is a student-run production that works very hard to provide viewers like you with a professional broadcast. This live broadcast is a great way to prepare us, your future broadcasters, with real-world experience. Thank you for your support.
Welcome back here. As you see Coach Pelly on your screen, got to be pretty happy with the results so far, up by 4 touchdowns. And the defense producing the shutout to this point. Last week at home, the Stars defeated the 2-win North Putnam Cougars, and they had a 37-0 lead before the reserves came in and gave up 2 touchdowns.
Just watching the Seeger sideline right there, number 64, Cade Walker. He's a senior. Could be his last game of his high school football career, and he's down there just trying everything he can to get his team pumped up, tell them, hey, this is not over, and that's what you want to see out of your players. He is doing what he can to get his teammates fired up. He does not want his high school football career to end tonight.
Smith set back to kick.
Is that Smith? Yeah, it's Smith.
He's kicked off over 50 times this year. This one goes for his second touchback of the year. He's averaging 40 yards on those kickoffs. He had a long of 60 yards against North Montgomery, and that one goes for a touchback.
Something I've always wondered, you see this in the NFL, you see it in college. When it's a touchback, everybody that's on the kicking team will run down to the other end zone. I don't know if that's just something they tell their players to do or if it's a rule, but you see it at every level. And everybody runs down there. It's like, for some of these kids are not playing a lot. Maybe they just want to get their body warmed up, but everybody runs to at least the goal line. At the 20.
After the touchback from the 20-yard line of their own, 1st and 10 for the Patriots. With trips wing to the near side, looking to throw out of necessity. Throws this one. It is almost intercepted by Ryan Taylor, but it's dropped, incomplete. The intended receiver there was Cal Steven, and the Patriots have no choice but to get their hobbled wide receiver in on just about every down now if they want to have any chance of coming back.
Right, and I don't know if it got tipped at the line or not. Because, everything looked good, but all of a sudden it started fluttering a little bit.
Watch Steven versus Garrity at the top of the screen. Steven's open, but gets the wild throw out of bounds as pressure came from the Stars' defensive line. Ryan Taylor, one of the guys in there on the pressure.
I think one time, one or twice during the whole evening, Snedeker is thrown to the right side, his right. I mean, he's left-handed quarterback. Almost everything's been to his side, his strong side, but maybe twice to his other side.
With the handoff, gains just a couple. No, they'll stop it right at the line of scrimmage.
12.
Thomas.
Hunter Thomas, number 35, the running back. He's got 25 carries coming to this one, just under 100 yards. And 2 rushing touchdowns.
Brings up a 4th down. Patriots.
So now we've got 4th down and 10 from the 20-yard line. Risking they will have a 3 and out here. Yet another one this game.
And we have Marsh back.
But the returner will be Baird. Baird picks it up and gets his second longest punt return of the year. And continues forward inside the 35-yard line of the Patriots. And great field position for this Stars team.
He
Just
made,
under 8 minutes. Excuse me.
No, he made a couple nice moves there to get some extra yardage.
Maybe that's something we'll see. Maybe the punt returns here for the Stars will start to turn around, and they'll do better coming into now regional play. Well, from the heavy set formation, under center, single back. There's some movement up the line as Miller went off in motion, and we saw some jumping.
Offsides.
So that'll be 5 yards, 1st and 5 coming up here shortly. The 27-yard line. Taylor's the running back.
Offside penalty against the Patriots.
And we mentioned how hard it is for a defense when you get 5 yards on 1st down, so it's 2nd down and 5. Now it's 1st down and 5, and the defense, they're going to need 3 great plays here, maybe even 4. Their back's against the wall. Looking for the handoff, goes to Taylor. Taylor lowers his shoulder, pushes forward about a yard shy of the 1st down marker. He'll get 4 yards on the carry and take him to the 23-yard line.
Elliott Young learned from the best last year with Spencer Wright, able to draw teams off sides to get that 5 yards. And he's done it several times to other teams this year, but we played Western earlier in the year. I don't know if you remember or not, but they were able to get us on that several times.
Yeah, sure enough, now from the gun. Rolling out to the near side, the right-handed quarterback with Elliott Young will make the move and be sacked. And on second down and short, he'll take the loss of 4 or 5 yards. And Young takes his first sack and gets a little bit of dirt on his jersey for the first time.
Back to the 28. -5 on that. I don't know if he's just trying to keep the clock moving, or he could have thrown that out of bounds because he was outside the pocket.
3rd and 5 from the 24-yard line. Handoff goes to Taylor. Taylor gets a first down. Taylor still moving. And near the 10-yard line into the red zone now. First down and more for the Stars. Robbie Taylor with over 230 carries this year, over 1,200 yards, and 9 touchdowns on the ground.
And that one was for 15.
First down, Western Boone.
Here we go. Stars on first down, a score and a PAT keeps the clock running. We'll see what they decide to do. Handoff, or we'll see if they're able to do so, excuse me. But a handoff only goes for about a yard to Robbie Taylor.
Whenever I see Robbie run, I think of the song, it was out way before you were born. It just talks about a train, take me on out of this town. That's what Robbie is. He's just a freight train out there once he gets it going in the right, everything going in the same direction.
And he'll get the carry here to the right side. The freight train pushes forward and is lunged down to about the 1-yard line. That'll be enough for a first down. We'll see first and goal.
Taylor again carry. Stop by Thomason.
Yeah, when the first tackle happened, or when the guy tackled him, he was under Robbie, so actually he was still alive, and when he rolled over to the other side of the guy and actually picked up a little bit more yardage.
Man in motions, Miller. The second touchdown of the game for Robbie Taylor on the ground in the same spot, back-to-back drives. And the score now moves to 34-0.
And I'll tell you what, there again, he was untouched. The offensive line is just doing a fantastic job out there.
2-yard touchdown plunge for 41, Robbie.
And now the PAT, the most important one of the game, you might say. Here is Josiah Smith, who's been perfect so far today after some struggles last year. The holder Durbin, the kick goes up, and it is good. 35-0 the score. And we'll be back shortly right here on WBTV Sports.
Thank you for tuning in and supporting WBTV Sports and Western Boone Athletics. This broadcast is made possible by the support of Western Boone, North Montgomery, Crawfordsville, and Southmont schools. This is a student-run production that works very hard to provide viewers like you with a professional broadcast. This live broadcast is a great way to prepare us, your future broadcasters, with real-world experience. Thank you for your support.
The score here at Seeger High School, 34-0, as the Stars ahead big. Make that 35-0, excuse me. And that will implement now the running clock here for this sectional championship game. The only time the clock will stop will be after either a PAT, a field goal, or if there's any kind of timeout on the field, whether that's a coach's timeout, the official's timeout, an injury timeout. But that's the only time the clock won't stop for any kind of first downs. It won't stop when they go out of bounds, and it won't stop after a touchdown. It'll be after that PAT
or
if the instance occurs.
Or an incomplete pass.
I don't believe so. The clock only stops. The clock won't stop for an incomplete.
You got to put time on the clock.
Yeah, there's some struggles with the scoreboard right now. For one, it says 34-1 instead of 35-0, so they added the PAT to the wrong side, and then the time says 0-0, so we'll see if we can get that. And the referees will stop, and
everyone starts yelling at the scoreboard keeper, and they're going to take care of it. They do their job. They do a good job. I've been at that scorer's bench doing things, and they start yelling at the person doing the scoreboard, and
they're going to say there's 5:04 up on the clock, and I've run the scoreboard too for numerous football games, and it can be pretty stressful. It's tough to keep everything perfect every single play, and it's It's hard to ask. We'll just give the players some extra time to take a breather, and now we'll get back at it. Heritage Christian 31, Shenandoah 7, and Triton Central 35 to Providence's 0. Now a really far kick now to the 9-yard line.
Ooh.
Taking it up to the near side is Schultz. Schultz will cut it upfield, lowers his shoulder, and a big hit to the 32-yard line is Juan Schultz, the 5'9", 145-pound junior. And a nice return by him, and yet another booming kickoff by the son of Hunter Smith.
He caught that at about the 8-yard line. That was in the air to the 8-yard line, so that was a great kick. You know, they had backed up because they'd been kicking short the whole night, so they backed up after that last one went in the end zone.
Here's this drive, 1st and 10. From the 32-yard line, throwing it to his right. That'll be almost intercepted. Two different stars were fighting over it. That's Smith and Garrity. Smith had it originally, then it went into the hands of Garrity, and Garrity just barely let it slip out. Incomplete pass. The final result now 2nd down and 10 from that 32-yard line. And there we saw the rare occurrence of the lefty rolling out to his right. You mentioned earlier most everything he's done has been to this near side.
When he did, he got out there. He got his shoulders turned. I mean, he made a pretty good throw, but the Stars are playing a little bit deeper now. So it's going to be tougher to get that deep pass. And Snedeker's only a sophomore looking here at the program.
Yeah, and also the running back right now, Peyton Martin, just a sophomore. A lot of youth for this team and really good coaching. We mentioned Coach King in his 30th year as the ball is caught near the 39-yard line. And Coach Herb King's only been here since 2016, but he's been coaching for 30 years now. He's got plenty of experience, and he's turned this program around.
3rd and 4.
3rd and 4 from the 39-yard line of their own. The Patriots, they need this one. 3 minutes to go here in this quarter. From the gun, the running back to his right, looks to throw, throws to the far side. It is incomplete as the wide receiver was anticipating the hit from Casey Baird. And Baird gets the praise from Coach Pelly.
Yeah, and unfortunately that goes against the quarterback as an incomplete pass, and the receiver dropped it. You're talking about Seeger's record prior to the coach showing up here. That's what happens. You may have some down years. You get some new blood in here, get things rejuvenated, have kids buy into your program, and they're just going to build on that success. And fortunately for Coach Pelly, he had the same kids for 3 years, basically.
Going for it on 4th down now, 4th and 4 to the near sides to the throw. It's caught. Enough for a 1st down by the Patriot team as they step out of bounds. And once again, Cal Stevenson, the leading receiver for the Patriots on the year. And now after just a couple catches, the leading receiver in this game. And he's going to head to the sideline and stretch out his hamstring.
That's enough for a Seeger Patriot.
Ron Colley's ahead 34-7 against Lebanon. Once again, thank you to Andy Hoskins for providing the scores throughout this year for WBTV Sports. 1:40 and change to go here in the 3rd quarter of play. Trying to mount a drive is the Patriot offense from the pistol formation. Trips wing to the far side, fakes the handoff, throws it to Race Carr, and Carr gets about 5 and is banged around by a few different stars as they try to bring him to the ground, and he takes a bit longer to get up.
Like I say, he's just another sophomore on this team and just really playing well.
Stephen back in the game. Him and Garrity matched up, almost the exact same size at the top of your screen. Looking to hand off after faking the throw, and the handoff will go up the middle to Martin, but not much daylight there. The Stars defense once again swarming to the ball.
No gain on that play. I was talking earlier about, building up programs, and Pelly, he didn't have to rebuild this year. He just reloaded a little bit. It just took everybody a little bit of time to come together.
Yeah, now they're going to be winning 7 out of 8 as they advance past this game. First, Seeger looks to throw. They've got the incomplete pass to Carr as it bounced right off his hands and what very well could have been a big gain and definitely enough for a first down. Instead, we have 4th and 5, and we'll likely have to get to that at the end of the quarter.
And the thing is, despite the score, Carr was not happy with himself. He knew he should have caught that, and, that's just the competitiveness in a kid.
Looking to hurry this one up. Only 2 seconds. They're not going to get it off. And you wonder if maybe they're just trying to draw the Stars off sides. Is really the logical thing to do on 4th down is take the extra time to think about what kind of play call and make sure everyone's focused in. And that's what they'll do here at Seeger Memorial High School. The Patriots down 35-0 with a fresh 12 on the board. We'll be back shortly. Nathaniel and Coach on WBTV Sports.
Sportsmanship doesn't happen just on the court or on the field or on the mat. It doesn't happen only in the pool or on the green or the track. It also happens in the stands, on the sidelines, on the web, and at home. That's because sportsmanship is everyone's responsibility. We remind you to practice good sportsmanship at all high school sporting events. Treat athletes and officials with respect during competition and especially in social media. And support your team's coaching staff. Remember, sportsmanship has a face. Yours. A message from your high school and the Indiana High School Athletic Association.
Welcome back here to the 4th quarter of play on WBTV Sports. The Patriots with the ball in their dark uniforms, moving from left to right on 4th down and 4, needing a completion, and they get it just barely. How did he hold on to that ball? What a throw and what a catch to Race Carr. Looking at some numbers here, the Stars with 10 first downs so far this game compared to Seeger's 9. And the Stars have 170 rushing yards on just 23 carries. Seeger with only 14 rushing yards on their 19 carries. More on that here in a minute. Out of the spread formation, handoff goes to the right side. Running back Martin with some room. Martin to the edge, and Peyton Martin scores a touchdown. The first one of the game for this Patriot offense, and they get on the scoreboard with 11:07 to go in the game. 35-6 is your score. And after all the rushing attempts today, that's the 20th for this Seeger team. They finally get one to break big, and they get their first score of the game. They've got 2 fumbles, and they've been inept through the passing game as well. Just 17 yards on 9 attempts, 17 attempts. Now looking to throw for the 2-point conversion to the near side. It's caught, sandwiched in between what looked to be 4 Stars and incomplete or no good.
No, it was a complete pass.
Complete, but no good.
He was in the end zone, but he had to come out to catch it, and when he came out, he got tackled, so it was not good.
And that's what this team does. They don't go for the PATs most of the time. They like those 2-point conversions. Looking at the numbers here as far as PATs go, they've only made 14 PATs on the year, 60% of what they've tried. So they really like to go for those 2-point conversions.
Now,
out of the situation.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of fight in these Patriots, and you better be ready for an onside kick.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at some more of the numbers here, we mentioned 52 passing yards for this Patriot offense, 9 of 17 through the air. The Stars only 2 completions on 7 attempts, but 70 passing yards. And they've just been dominating big plays, short yardage, on 3rd downs, everything you can ask for the Stars they've been able to do en route to their 35-6 score. They're 3 of 5 on 3rd downs to where Seeger's 3 of 11 in that same category. And it's just been efficiency, and it's been big plays here for the Stars that set them over the top.
And turnovers have played a big part in the game as
absolutely.
well.
2 fumbles, one of them recovered for a touchdown, another one led to a passing touchdown. And you mentioned most of the guys up ready for the onside kick for the return team. Only one guy back for the Stars, and he's at the 25-yard line. The other 10 lined up between the 50 and the 40. We'll see what we have here with 10:27 to go.
Stephen is
It
we got it.
be recovered by the
Ooh.
Stars just barely at the 50-yard line. Is what could have been a really good onside kick, and
High Song recovered it.
bounced off a Star and bounced off of a Patriot after that before High Song got his hands on it.
I don't know who it hit first. It bounced off their hands, then it kind of hit their helmet, and then High Song just grabbed it out of the air.
Tipton's ahead by 2 scores, 28-14 against LaPel. Andrian 21, Rensselaer 0. So in the game that started with just 7-0, now Andrian scored 14 more after that. And then Pioneer 22, Bremen 6. Here's the Stars offense. Taylor, the running back, heavy set formation from under center. The handoff gains just 1.5 yards, maybe 2 yards.
Taylor carries, stopped by 64, Cade Walker.
Robbie Taylor with 2 touchdowns today. Cannon Bruins had the fumble recovered for 6 to begin the game. Casey Baird caught the first of the 2 touchdown passes from Elliott Young. Marsh had the other one after he recovered a fumble for that sudden change drive. Over 9 minutes to go here in the game. Under center, handoff again, this time to the left. And this time the surge pushes forward, and Robbie Taylor gains 5 yards on what looked to be maybe just a gain of 1 or 2. And there we saw Javon Robinson, the 5'5", 205-pound junior, in on the stop. The next play, 3rd down and 4 from the 43. Toss out to Marsh. Marsh to the near side. He gets enough for the first down.
Yep.
Goes out of bounds, but that does not stop the clock. 1st and 10 forthcoming. 35-6 the score.
Down to about 36-yard line, 1st down, Stars.
And now Marsh seems to be a bit banged up, able to run off on his own power, but just a small limp, get some ice. He's probably done for today. He'll probably get some ice on that right ankle.
Probably not a bad thing. Just get some rest. The weather's supposed to be pretty decent next week as well. It will be a little bit cooler.
Now looking to throw, scratch that quarterback keeper. The speed of Young on display. Young to the near side, cuts it back upfield. And now Young runs near inside the 10.
Don't do anything, Elliott.
His second run inside the 10. And the first one went to about the 1 yard line. This one gets near the 8.
That looked like it was an option play, and he just kept it and took it down to the 8. I hope, if our fans are yelling for a horse collar, the kid had a hold of his shirt in the middle of his back, pulled him down. It wasn't a horse collar.
Around 220 yards on the year, including today for Elliott Young on the ground. He has 6 rushing touchdowns. Robbie Taylor, the lone running back. Some movement along the offensive line. 1 wide receiver is Garrity, the wing and motions Miller. Handoff goes to Taylor. Taylor pulls the whole defense with him and gets to the 2 yard line. That was one heck of a run.
It was.
By number 41.
Like I say, when they get him turned around a little bit, when they get him turned around,
he can just back his way for an
easy. He can start digging his heels in a little bit, and
heavy set formation, likely going to see another rush unless the coach changes things up. The running back's Taylor, and then Taylor gets close to about the 1 yard line. 3rd down and goal from the 1 coming up here next. Robbie Taylor had the handoff, and now it's tough. You wonder what kind of play call Coach Pelly's going to bring out with after 2 straight runs. Maybe we'll go for a toss play or a rollout pass, or maybe we'll just go with what's worked and get the 3rd touchdown on the ground for Taylor. Under 6 to go. Single back formation, man in motion. It'll be a rollout to the right side. Green in front of him. Throws this one, but it's batted down. 4th and 1 coming up next.
Number 8, Thomason.
Brock Thomason plays both ways. A 6'2", 205-pound junior, and is a really good player on defense for this Patriot team, and he's contributed his own on offense as well. 63 rushing attempts and 7 rushing touchdowns.
And that's a tough pass to make because Elliott was rolling to his right, and Connor had already passed his center line of his body, so he's running to the left. So Elliott's really got to throw across his body now to get the ball to him.
Going for it on 4th down. Running backs, Taylor, man in motion is Miller. It'll be a quarterback keeper, and Young gets his 3rd touchdown of the day. 2 through the air, 1 on the ground, and he scores the touchdown to bring his team 41-6 with 5 to go.
It was a good read on his part. He faked the dive to Robbie Taylor, and basically you got Robbie then playing like a fullback blocker and just led through the hole for Elliott, and he got in there untouched.
Young responsible now for 18 points this game. As we mentioned, he had 2 passing touchdowns, and he just took the quarterback keeper on 4th and 1 at the goal line. Here's Jake Taylor to get his foot in.
Gets it.
So Josiah Smith makes all of his PATs. Jake Taylor makes the first one he's attempted. Both sophomores. And the clock stops at 4:24, 42-6. The score here in a game that at least I projected to be a close one. I'm surprised that the Stars have been able to come out and put on this kind of show.
We talked about it earlier. It goes clear back to that fumble recovery return for a touchdown because Seeger was moving the ball. They were making good progress. And all of a sudden, you're down 7-0.
And then from there is pedal to the metal for the Stars. A score update here, a close one at the sectional championship between Danville and Tri-West. Danville was ahead 14-7. Then Tri-West scored to make it 14-13 and then missed the PAT. So that score stands right now at 14-13. Danville ahead against the Bruins. Both teams defeated the Stars earlier this year.
I don't know if you have given the latest Pioneer score, but that's where I went to high school. So I have some friends back home. They're letting me know Pioneer 16, Bremen 0. No, it's 22-6 now after 3.
Yep, that's what I heard as well, 22-6. And I didn't know you went to Pioneer. They're now in the 2A class after dominating in 1A for so many years. Their best player went to Notre Dame after a couple of years ago when he graduated.
Jack Kaiser. And he is playing.
Now with the return coming up to the near side with some
back
room is Carr. Carr with a stiff arm. Carr cuts it back upfield and gets inside the 40-yard line. A lot of work and a pretty nice gain as well to the 37. Danville scores quickly, 21-13. They're ahead on Tri-West.
You really got to like the heart of Carr. He just, like I said, regardless of what the score is, he's got a lot of fight in him. He's not giving up. And, that's the type of leadership you want out of your players.
Patriots start 1st and 10 from their own 37.
Now you mentioned Jack Kaiser playing for Notre Dame. Western Moon's own Connor Hull is now with IU in their football program here. A flag flies on the rush up the middle. Last year, the Stars had 4 All-State players. That was Spencer Wright, the quarterback, Connor Hull as a safety, Casey Foster, the offensive center, and Brett Weathington, the running back and linebacker. Seeger also had an All-State player of their own. That was P.J. Maximus Abel. He was the only All-State player for this Patriot team since 2010.
Okay. What's that signal?
Penalties against Western Boone. 12 men on the field.
Oh.
Yeah, they'll call 12 men on the field there, and that will give Seeger the first down and move them into enemy territory. The clock rolls at 2:45 and dropping at the 48-yard line of Western Boone. The 1st and 10 here coming up with the trips wing to the far side. The ball set around the middle of the field, and now another flag flies.
Offsides on the Stars, unless they've got someone lined up in the...
Yeah, you were right. Against the Stars, that'll add 5 yards, 1st and 5. And the ball will move from the 48 now inside the 45 to the 43. 1st and 5, let's try this again. Yeah. Same formation with the trips wing on the open side of the field. 1 wide receiver is Carr to the near side. The running back behind quarterback out of the pistol formation. Snedeker hands it off And running it up in the middle is Peyton Martin, who gets it near the first down marker. 2nd down and 1 coming up here with under 2 minutes to go. Ron Colley 42, Lebanon 7. Looks like the rival of Western Boone. Lebanon will be dropping this sectional championship game, and Ron Colley will advance into the class of 4A.
You mentioned Connor Hull earlier, and he got some playing time again in that Penn State game.
The pass is complete. He gets a first down and more on the far side, and a nice catch, nice throw. As we saw Cal Stephen get another reception today. And you wonder what kind of game Stephen could have had if he wasn't hobbled with that hamstring injury. We would have seen him and Garrity matched up against each other all day. Instead, he's on a pitch count. Now he gets over the near side, gets set slowly, and gets away from Garrity's side. So he's be a handoff up the middle anyway. Now the near side with some blocking. Seeger has some room and into the end zone. Are they going to call it?
Call him out.
Looks like he stepped out just barely as Peyton Martin got as close as you can to the end zone without scoring on a big run. Instead, they'll say he stepped out around the 4-yard line.
They're wanting the coach call timeout and try to get the score, and I don't blame them.
30 seconds to go, and off into the neutral zone, is Western Boone appears, and the clock continues to roll.
We got to call timeout.
15 seconds to go and dropping. This penalty is really taking up a lot of time. Now there'll be a timeout. After losing about 15 seconds off the clock.
It doesn't stop on a penalty.
But it will stop on the timeout, which is why
maybe the Stars are like, well, we're going to get a penalty, so they can't run a play.
Could be 42-6 the score.
He took that down to the 4.
Triton Central's ahead 35-7 against Providence. Now we've got 12.7 seconds to go. 1, maybe 2 plays left. Still a timeout left in the arsenal of Coach King.
Ball on the 2, 1st and goal.
The Stars team and their defense heading out to try to make 1 or 2 more stops. 42-6 the score. We see Cal Stephen ready to take the snap as the wide receiver will be a bit of a wildcat. He'll take it, direct snap, pushes forward, lunges and gets the touchdown. The rushing touchdown now for Cal Stephen. He's been hurt this game, but he scores there. The 6'4", 205-pound senior gets into the end zone, and the score 42-12, pending this extra point and PAT opportunity.
That was a good setup by the coach. Let him have a chance to score.
They're going to call the game there. 42-12 is the final score, and we'll be back here shortly. Welcome back here to Seeger Memorial High School as the Patriots have played their last game here in the 2020-2021 season. The Stars are victorious, 42-12 the score, as the teams meet at midfield and wish each other the best, as now the Stars will head and be presented with their championship trophy. The sectional championship heads to Western Boone for the 4th straight year as they win this one big. Let's look at some scores here.
Unfortunately, I don't have their players' names for Seeger. But for the Stars, Elliott Young had 70 yards passing with 2 TDs.
He also had 86 rushing yards.
He led the team in rushing with 86 yards and 1 TD. And then Luke Marsh had 44 receiving yards and a TD. Let's go down here. Yeah, the program, they didn't have their names entered in on the huddle, so I don't have their players' names.
Passing-wise, Snedeker had 73 passing yards, which is actually more than what Elliott Young had. And then They also had a rushing touchdown there we saw from
number 41.
From Peyton Martin.
Peyton Martin.
So he had 72 yards and a touchdown. We saw Steven with the touchdown earlier.
And then team-wise, for the Stars, Boone scored on the fumble recovery, and then we had Young and Taylor scoring, and then Marsh there as well. But Western Boone had 37 plays to Seeger's 44. Total yards, Western Boone 290 to Seeger's 184. Seeger won the passing battle 73-70. Rushing yards went to Western Boone 220 to 96.
Now, both teams just last week, sorry to interject here, but Seeger ran for 221 rushing yards in their 32-11 win over Cascade. So here are the Stars with 220 in their win against Seeger.
Both teams had 13 first downs, and the killer for the Patriots was the 2 turnovers. Like you said, the first one was a touchdown. The second one led to a touchdown. And penalties pretty even, but other than that, it's the Patriots. They started so many times deep in their own territory, and the Stars were starting a lot of times in Seeger territory. So they had a lot shorter field they had to work with.
And you mentioned that fumble recovered for a touchdown by Bruins to begin the game. That was really the tone setter for the Stars. They went on to score a few more touchdowns, you could say, before they were up 35-0. And then Seeger decided to put up a couple touchdowns. But it really started from that fumble recovered for a touchdown, set the tone, let Seeger know what kind of defense they'll be facing here with the Stars, and then gave the Stars a lot of energy to begin the game.
Yeah. And, this is whenever it happens, this is the toughest night for seniors. I look down there at Kel Steven, and, the seniors go off by themselves. They just want to reflect. It's just a disheartening time for them, but they need to look back on their career and realize the success they had, and they did have a great year. In their coach, King, he's doing a good job with this team, and, the way things go with the classifications and sectionals making, it could be a lot of Western Boone Seeger here the next couple of years because Seeger is young.
Well, Mr. Gray, 100% of the votes are in here in West Lebanon, and we have a clear winner. The white team, Western Boone, and the Stars will head home to Western Boone with a win, 42-12 the score. The end of this game marks the end of the season for the Seeger Patriots. They'll finish 2020 with a record of 8-3. Best of luck to the 7 seniors who Seeger will graduate. Next Friday night, the Stars will travel to likely Heritage Christian for the regional championship. That game broadcasted right here on WBTV Sports and the IHSAA Champions Network. A big thank you to Heath Shanahan and the IHSAA TV. We mentioned earlier Jeremy Dexter in the Western Boone Athletic Department, as well as the host athletic department here at Seeger High School. Very accommodating all day today and throughout the week, so we really appreciate their help as well. Thank you to Technical Director Gage Griffith, Videographer Matt Foxworthy, Score Provider Andy Hoskins, for Statistician and Color Announcer Coach Gray, and all of WBTV Sports. I'm Nathaniel Finch. Final score, Western Boone 42, Seeger 12. Have a great weekend.